Sad eyes, don't be discouraged, oh I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness there inside you makes you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow. Ooh, da-da-da-da-da-da-dum. Show me a smile then, and don't be unhappy. Can't remember when I last saw you laughing.
If this world makes you crazy,
taking all you can bear,
you know you can call me. I'll be
call because you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. Your true colors are beautiful like a rainbow.
I can't remember when I last saw you. This world makes you crazy and you
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Cedar Lane, and happy Pride. Yay! Today is our annual Pride service, and whether you're here in person or joining us online, it is such a joy to be together with you in worship this morning. I am the Reverend Dayna Edwards, and my pronouns are she and her. And visually, I am wearing a black T-shirt with MoCo Pride 2024 Pride in the Plaza shirt, and a pink skirt with some prints on it. And I and I am a white middle-aged woman, cisgendered with short brown hair and glasses. And I want to extend a warm welcome to all of our guests, whether you're joining us for the first time or for your 100th time. We are so glad that you are a part of our faith community. At Cedar Lane, love works, and we mean that. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you're from, whatever your life circumstances, your gender identity, your sexual orientation, disability, or documentation status, your spiritual path, you belong here. Your story matters. Your presence is a gift. If you're new or still finding your way, we would love to connect with you. If you're online, you can say hello in the chat. And if you're here in person, feel free to raise your hand if you're new, and we can give you a warm Cedar Lane welcome. Any newcomers this morning? And even if you're not raising your hand, let's give everybody a little round of applause. Thank you for taking the risk and trying something new this morning. After the service, you can join us in the fellowship hall for refreshments and conversation. And if you're new or newish, you can look for a yellow mug, because at Cedar Lane, yellow means hello. And a white mug also means hello. Yes, say hello, please. So do join us after service for coffee and conversation. And as we enter into this time of worship, lean into the joy, music, and movement of this multi-generational space. Feel free to use the creative listening materials available in the back of the sanctuary. And if you need a moment or need some extra care, we invite you to touch base with our caring ministry team member, John Gubbings. And we're delighted this morning to have Sunu Chandy with us, sharing her wisdom and presence. She's right. Yes, let's give her a round of applause. I'm a bit of a fangirl, I have to say. Sunu is a civil rights attorney, a poet, a queer woman of color, and senior advisor with the nonprofit advocacy group Democracy Forward, and the author of the collection of poetry, My Dear Comrades. She's the daughter of immigrants from Kerala, India, and currently lives in DC with her spouse and her teen daughter. And she's been included as one of the Washington Blade's Queer Women of Washington, and is a board member with the Transgender Law Center. So please join me one more time in welcoming Sunu Chandy. Now, in the spirit of love and connection, if you're joining us online, connect with each other online. And if you're here in person, connect with each other and say hello to someone who may be unfamiliar to you.
I just pinch his cheek so much.
He's not muted. Thank you.
With a mind that holds a plan, with a hand that holds a key, with a heart that holds a dream, love reaches out. When a family's torn apart, when the street is all you have, when your faith begins to break, love reaches out. Love reaches out. Love reaches out. Here by your side, bringing you home. Love reaches out. Through the pain your eyes have seen, through the voices in your head, through the war you still endure, love reaches out.
change. To the mother and the child, to the elder all alone, love reaches out. Love reaches out. Love reaches out. Here by your side, bringing you home. Love reaches out. Let us take this time to strengthen and inspire. Let love and compassion be the source that fuels the fire.
If you find yourself in need, if you fear what lies ahead, if we forge a path of trust, love reaches out. Where hope replaces hate, where wounds begin to heal, where we all will have a home, love reaches out. Love reaches out. Love reaches out. Here by your side, bringing you home. Love reaches out. Love reaches out. Love reaches out. Here by your side, bringing you home. Love reaches out. Here by your side, bringing you home. Love reaches out.
Good morning, Cedar Lane. My name is Mike Tringill, and I'm really glad to be back as your worship associate today. My visual description is I am a gay white male, let's go with middle-aged, brown hair, brown beard, brown eyes, black shirt, black pants, and black shoes, but with brightly colored rainbow socks. So, got to show our pride. And in our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we light a chalice as a symbol of our shared faith and community. And I'd like to invite up our new member, Sylvester Henry, who will help light the chalice as the rest of us in the sanctuary rise to share in the chalice lighting words. The chalice is lit, and in the flames, the memory of our gay, bi, lesbian, queer, trans, and non-binary ancestors do a dance of freedom and liberation, reminding us that we are whole and holy. We are loved beyond all measure, and in our refusal to accept anything less, may we know we are rooted in the infinite divinity, not relegated to the outskirts of the web of all existence, but enshrined at its core, enfleshed with stardust and fairy dust, and intentional creation of space where our many gods live. Thank you.
So we do need a helper to open the Wonder Box this morning. I see 3 helpers. Come on up. All right, so our worship today is about surrender, is the theme. So you can come on open. One person can open, one person can take it out, and then one person can close it. How about that? Lift it up and show it to everyone. You want to tell everybody what it is? Toothpaste. Toothpaste. Thank you so much. You guys can have a seat. So I wonder what toothpaste could have to do with surrender. Let's see. I have this wonderful poem written by Sunu, which I'm so excited to read. Who here has ever had to teach somebody how to brush your teeth? Okay. So this one's for you. The title is Teaching My Daughter to Recap the Toddler Toothpaste. Don't push hard. Don't push hard. Don't push so hard. No need to press it so. Just place it gently on top. Let it settle into its place. And only then, gently twist. No, not that way. Not that way. The other way. Try one way. Try one way. If that doesn't work, then stop. Then stop. Then stop completely. And then try the other way. Trust me. Trust me. You will know. You will know when it's time to stop turning. Thank you. And so now I invite our children and youth, yes, children and youth, we have 2 maker spaces, one for children and one for youth, to join Eleanor at the back of the sanctuary while we sing our next song. And they will go to the Chalice House and they can be picked up from the Chalice House for our maker space. So children can go ahead and please rise in body and spirit as we sing our hymn. The words will be on the screen.
Some of you may have not, but when we sing this song, the other verses have other things to do other than sing the song. So in the second part, where we say, you'll sing a song again, you're going to do those things with me, if I do them right, okay? Like hum or clap or something like that, okay? You'll sing a song and I'll sing a song and we'll sing a song together. You'll sing a song and I'll sing a song in warm or wintry weather. You'll hum a line and I'll hum a line. We'll hum a line together. They have it in a different order than me, don't they? You'll clap along and I'll clap along and we'll clap along together in warm or wintry weather. You'll whistle a while and I'll whistle a while and we'll whistle a while together in warm or wintry weather. You'll sing a song and I'll sing a song and we'll sing a song together. You'll sing a song and I'll sing a song in warm or wintry weather. Thank you for singing with me.
As we enter this next quiet moment together, I invite us all to pause Take a deep breath in with me and out. And let this quiet anchor us in the here and now as we honor the fullness of life, the joys that we bring, the sorrows that we carry, and the questions that we have inside. Whatever you bring this morning, know this: you are not alone. You are seen, here, and you are held. This week, we celebrate with Wangari Kamau, who recently gained U.S. citizenship. So congratulations to Wangari. We also join Washington, D.C. and the global community celebrating World Pride back in our hometown in D.C. this weekend. Just another sign that we choose love and joy and diversity over hate and fear and division. Love wins. And congratulations to all of those who are graduating or have been promoted from preschool and elementary school, middle, high school, college, advanced degrees, or any educational opportunity. We celebrate you and your accomplishment. We also reach out to anyone who is burdened by grief and uncertainty right now, particularly our federal worker friends facing job loss, instability, immigrants seeking refuge and safety, trans and non-binary beloveds, women, people of color confronting injustice, and people living with disability and illness. Our hearts stretch across the entire world to all those living under the shadow of war and violence, with our prayer that peace will find a way. And now I invite you to rise in body or spirit and to speak aloud the names that you carry in your hearts, and share them in the chat if you're online. Please. Now we invite you all to our ritual of connection. If you feel called, you're welcome to come forward and choose a stone from the table here beside the chancel. And let this stone embody what stirs within you today: the joy to celebrate, a sorrow to hold, or a prayer of hope. And as you place your stone in the water nearby, let the ripples remind all of us that what we carry within spreads outward, and what we carry is never ours alone. You're welcome to come forward now.
And as we stay in this contemplative moment, I invite you to receive the words from Padre Gotuma, this poem called The Facts of Life, and receive these words as a prayer. That you were born and you will die. That you will sometimes love enough and sometimes not. That you will lie, if only to yourself. That you will get tired. That you will learn from the situations you did not choose. That there will be some things that move you more than you can say. That you will live, that you must be loved. That you will avoid questions most urgently in need of your attention. That you began as the fusion of a sperm and an egg of two people who once were strangers and may well still be. That life isn't fair. That life is sometimes good and sometimes even better than good. That life is often not so good. That life is real, and if you can survive it, well, survive it well. With love and art and meaning giving, where meaning's scarce. That you will learn to live with regret. That you will learn to live with respect. That the structures that constrict you may not be permanently constricting. That you will probably be okay. That you must accept change before you die, but you will die anyway. So you might as well live, and you might as well love. You might as well love. You might as well love.
That your loving is a miracle, how deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Good morning. Usually, you guys see me up here playing my guitar or making music with the children, but today I'm here for a different purpose. My name is Jenny Crane, and I'm a short, chubby white woman in my late 40s, wearing a dress with rainbows on it. And as we gather in this sacred space, we're invited to invest in Cedar Lane's mission and shared life. The offering we take today and every Sunday is more than financial support. It's a reflection of our commitment to the community and values we strive to live out: love, justice, welcome, and care. Cedar Lane depends on each of us. Your generosity sustains our worship, programs, partnerships, and our ability to grow in faith and service. Whether you make a one-time gift, support today's Share the Plate partner, or fulfill your annual pledge, every contribution helps strengthen our community and extend our reach. This morning, we are proud to share the plate with the Montgomery County Pride family. The Montgomery County Pride family is a consortium of LGBTQIA+, I'm only going to say that once, okay? Service, advocacy, arts, and cultural organizations in Montgomery County, Maryland. Its mission is to champion the unwavering right to self-determination for the queer and trans community, to uplift those most vulnerable, and to catalyze lasting change through empowerment, advocacy, and solidarity. When I was younger and very involved with trans and queer activist organizations, I would never, ever have predicted that today I would be legally married to my partner, or that the Supreme Court would actually say that it was illegal to fire me for my sexual orientation, which had happened before in my life. But that young person is also not surprised at the fierce and determined backlash against those changes. We need clear statements, strong actions, and financial support from people like you to survive and to sustain those hard-won victories. Cedar Lane has for many years, and this is part of why we're members here and why we're involved, Cedar Lane has for many years supported local and national trans and queer advocacy organizations like the MoCo Pride family. Cedar Lane has also supported Pride family organizations by giving space for social activities and support groups and things like that. This year, Cedar Lane is supporting the MoCo Pride family through also, and this is really important, sponsoring an intergenerational choir to sing at Pride in the Plaza on June 29th. I'm coordinating this and directing the choir. So we already have many of our kids and youth actually signed up, but we need adults, because that's what intergenerational means, right? It means you guys come and you do things with kids. So it'd be wonderful to have many of our Cedar Lane musicians involved. So please talk to me or find the link in the e-news, that magical document, right, for more information and to register. Music brings joy, and lifting our voices together in love and community is a powerful act of solidarity and resistance. Your continued financial support makes this possible. And right now, queer and trans folks are under constant attack by the federal government and well-funded organizations that literally want us to disappear. You can give online, by text, by email, or by placing your gift in the plate. Every gift matters, and every gift makes a difference. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken hearts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send the flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make is me.
Another round of bullets hits my skin. Well, fire away, 'cause today I'm gonna let the shame sink in.
We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. We are warriors, and that's what we've become. Won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us. For we are warriors. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send the flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me.
This is me.
When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me.
This is me.
Hello. I'm Coral Mumby. Visually, I am a short, white, cisgender woman in her 30s with purplish hair and a black and white sweater, blue jeans. When I first came to Cedar Lane, I was about 27, and I wasn't yet married or a parent. I was looking for some place that I could envision growing and starting a family, putting down roots. But I also needed to find a place where I could grow and learn. A place that would challenge me to think differently, to look at things from new angles, and to really explore what I believe and why. I heard about soul circles, and I thought it sounded perfect, so I didn't even need to be a member of the congregation to join. So I signed up on a group based entirely on scheduling, and I am so glad that I did. What I found when I went to my first meeting was a group of kind, thoughtful, clever people who took time in their day-to-day lives to think deeply about big questions. For anyone who doesn't know, the basic format of Soul Circles is like this. Each month, we receive a packet based on a theme like imagination, hope, presence, or curiosity. This month's theme is freedom, very fittingly. Each packet has a set of exercises you can try, a list of thought-provoking questions, a selection of quotes on the topic, links to videos, books, movies, even a Spotify playlist. There's a lot in there. In our monthly meeting, we'll start with a check-in, and then each person gets a turn to speak about their experience working with the packet or thinking about the theme. When one person has the floor, the rest of the group holds the space for them without interrupting, commenting, or offering advice. They just listen with open hearts. Once each person has had the floor, there's usually a more open-ended discussion, and of course, we keep our discussions confidential. In my first group, I was the youngest by probably 3 decades. It was a fantastic surprise to realize that I wasn't all that different from them. People who might seem buttoned up or very serious from a distance turned out to be funny, snarky, insightful, and warm up close. Suddenly, there were 10 new people I felt really comfortable talking to at coffee hour, and 10 new people who really knew me. It completely changed how I felt walking in on a Sunday morning. I really felt like part of the community. Then I had a baby, and I heard that they were forming a Soul Circle group specifically for parents. So I joined that group, and it was so helpful to have these really introspective conversations with other parents, hearing about their successes and their challenges, and having a group of more experienced parents that I could ask questions of. And then this year, I was asked to lead a new Soul Circle group specifically for millennials. And in that group, I have met so many people I never would have crossed paths with otherwise. And I got to know them on a level that I probably wouldn't have if I was just sitting near them in the sanctuary. So if you've thought about joining a Soul Circle but felt unsure about the commitment or the amount of reading, there is a lot of reading, but you don't have to do it all. I encourage you to join one anyway. I've been to meetings where I've pored over the packet for the whole month and really tried to implement the activities in my life. And I've had meetings where I forgot the packet existed until the morning of. But both led to fascinating conversations. You can find the link to sign up to a Soul Circle in the e-news or reach out to Nicole Singer, who runs the whole thing. Thanks, Nicole. I'm really looking forward to a new set of themes coming in the fall, and I hope to see some new faces in the circle. Thanks.
Good morning. Last time I came here, we were like sort of squished into that room over there, and I just want to say congratulations on your new space, and it's really a joy to be back here. I want to say thank you to Reverend Abi for the invitation. He was the first South Asian Unitarian minister I'd ever met when he came and preached at All Souls, and it was so powerful to see someone embodying those identities as a faith leader. I want to say thank you to Reverend Ali Casey Bell. We met when my family visited, and we were on a panel together with Reverend Sophia Betancourt last year. I was sad to hear that he's leaving and wish him the best on adventures. And thank you to Reverend Dayna for working together to create the service and allowing me to have some input on the music, and thank you to the musicians. The theme of surrender came to me in a few contexts this spring. You know, easy areas like canceling international travel because of fear of crossing the border, family members' health, finances, and parenting. I'll share a bit about some of these contexts and weave in a few poems and wisdom from a few experts, including Oliver Berkman, Pema Chodron, and Tara Brock. I'll close with some guidance from queer ancestors, including people like Urvashi Vaught and Ella Jenkins. First, though, a poem, religious and spiritual. At the end of all my roads of logic and self-confidence, where all the planning dead ends, there and only there comes a time when I'm forced to say, give it to God. When one goes to pick up one's toddler daughter in another country, but the court date was actually for another child. When one walks down Perkins Street to find a taxi for an emergency surgery to remove a soon rupturing cyst. I would remember our activist ancestor Eileen Fay would say, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph be with us on our way every summer afternoon in 1984 as we began our Chicagoland ride to the Kennedy Park swimming pool. When crouched on the floor of the bathroom at a doctor's office, bleeding without end, late to catch a flight to take a deposition in another city. Only in these times do I actually remember to be faithful. My Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The sun will not hurt me during the day, nor the moon during the night. I still recall my anger when my favorite television program, Little House on the Prairie, was interrupted by my family's compulsory nightly psalms and reading and prayers. And now, 40 years later, we stand together for Apacha, Grandpa, to pray at the end of each visit home. And I still smile with surprise every time he says out loud, and dear Lord, bless Erica, Satya, Sunu, somewhere, somehow inside the heart of a very long family prayer. Sure, this poem is about family coming to accept their queer daughter and her family, but it's also about those times when I felt spun out of control, like all could be lost. These are times when I lean into the more religious aspects of my upbringing, praying, singing hymns, surrendering. This spring, on multiple levels, this poem has felt like an everyday thing. It has felt like a time when I needed not just yoga, meditation, poetry, but I needed some higher power to help take over, whatever that means for me as a Unitarian. At the Atlanta Botanic Garden a few years ago, a woman had on a shirt that said, Jesus, take the wheel. It feels like I'm in that moment on multiple fronts in my own life, not to mention this nation. Now, that doesn't mean we don't protest, push against the illegal disappearing of our neighbors, sending prayers to LA, or bring lawsuits against illegal executive orders, because that is a thing we do at Democracy Forward, where I work. We have brought more lawsuits and successful ones than any other group. I'm grateful to all the litigators and those who support the work and all who contribute to Democracy Forward. At the same time, we're in a moment that feels bigger too, where the universe or God or a movement of people, whatever you believe in, needs to be called upon to do something. If you're a type A planner, like I like to call myself, we can fool ourselves into thinking we can plan or logic or outline or list our way out of any situation. On multiple fronts, I realized how wrong I was about that this spring. First, we had international travel plans long in the making, The first trip was planned in 2020 before COVID. 5 years later, we had finally planned the trip again. But then I heard that a citizen lawyer from Detroit was detained at the border for representing Palestinians. I watched the student at Tufts being taken off the street. As many of you, I watched it in real time and felt it was too much to risk to leave the country as a brown person, as someone with immigrant family members, as someone who sues this administration, as someone who speaks about the number dead in Gaza, alongside speaking about freeing the hostages and the need to fight actual anti-Semitism in this country. Even before all of that, I had written this poem. Is there anything liquid, dangerous, fragile in your bag? Going through TSA in Nashville, it is one day after the elderly widow took both hands in mine and said, "My late husband sat at the lunch counter to push for desegregation. Thank you for continuing his life's work." It is one day after the Baptist minister, head of a civil rights agency, finally agreed it was right to include trans people in the keynote discussion for the civil rights event. It was one day after Mary Annalise Hegler read from her novel, not just on climate change and Black families, but school desegregation and the horrors facing one Black girl in Nashville, left out of her elementary school play. One day after all of that, in February 2025, let it be known I was held longer than what was comfortable by the TSA agents. Was it the small rainbow heart on my personal laptop? Was it the larger sticker defending democracy on my work laptop? They tested both my laptops multiple times for dangerous substances. They still held me. They did a full body pat down, finding nothing. They still held me. In the end, they said something about crumbs in the bag, but pointed to a pocket on the outside of the bag. Anything liquid, fragile, or dangerous in the bag? Freedom? Democracy? All of that? So yes, we canceled our trip and it meant losing thousands of dollars, but then I understood the blessings of surrender. Even when I flew to Rhode Island for work this week, I ripped off the Democracy Forward sticker from my laptop. Another area where I've had to let the universe take the wheel is regarding family members' health. My parents are in their 80s. Every time I talk to them, I hear about another medical procedure or surgery. Thankfully, so far it's manageable, but it's sad to come to terms with the fact that my parents are at an age where they cannot control these medical issues, and guess what? Neither can I. The same is true for others who have medical issues that I cannot plan or solve. Again, facing what is real on this front has helped me to be more present, to do what's needed, instead of struggling against the realities. The third example is about our home church. It was sad to realize, despite successful pledge drive and new members, living within our means will mean some staff will lose their jobs. I'm grateful to all who spent a year considering how the church could pay its bills, continue its mission, and face the reality of that situation. It has been painful and clarifying. As the child of a minister, I remember being asked to fill out a survey about our Chicagoland church when I was in junior high. I remember telling that person, my feeling is that my dad should keep his job. I was not a fan of him facing age, national origin discrimination after so many years. I'm deeply empathetic to the impact of congregational layoffs. I also know living within our means was the only responsible decision. And the fourth context I want to name is parenting. Anyone who has been a child or parent understands this, of course. As Khalil Gibran reminds us, our children are not our children. They are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. They have their own thoughts. I understand this way better now that I have a 15-year-old. Talk about surrender. And she's incredible, resilient, and brave. And she's actually at All Souls doing the coming of age stuff today. That's why she and my spouse aren't here. We cannot fix most things. We must bear witness and try to be more helpful than harmful. In all of these areas, I have felt these blessings of surrender, and that means facing what is real and true. I want to share briefly some wisdom from three folks who have helped me on my path to surrender. Oliver Burkeman is the author of 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. Brace yourself if you haven't heard this before. If you live to be 80, you'll have about 4,000 weeks. The average human lifespan is absurdly, insultingly brief. But he continues, that's no reason for despair. Confronting our radical finitude, how little control we have, is the key to a fulfilling and meaningfully productive life. I find his reminders very helpful because in the morning, in the hour before work, I usually want to do morning pages, spin class, yoga class, write a poem, eat a great breakfast, make a smoothie, hang out with our kid. Oliver reminds me that's more like a menu of options, and I can probably do 2 of them, definitely not all of them. The Blessings of Surrender is about being more realistic, small picture or big picture. Another author who helps me remember this is Pema Chodron. She writes, things falling apart is a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. We think the point is to pass the test or to overcome the problem, but the truth is things don't get solved. They come together and they fall apart. Then they come together and then they fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, for relief, for misery, for joy. I'm sure many of you know her work, but if you don't, I recommend her book in these times when it feels like the floor is falling out from under us. The third person I want to mention is Tara Brach. Some of you may have meditated with her at River Road. In her book, Radical Acceptance, she details, radical acceptance is the practice of fully accepting our present moment experience without judgment or resistance. It means embracing all parts of ourselves and our lives, even the difficult or painful parts. Acknowledging reality as it is without getting caught up in judgment or blame. As a former federal worker for many years in civil rights, I also want to add my special love to all those impacted by the horrors facing the current moment. Federal workers, contractors, grantees, and others. During Trump 1, I was a civil rights director at Health and Human Services. During that time, I fought with myself for months about this question of surrender and stayed for 8 months. And now I've been supporting others going through similar but far worse dynamics. There is a lot of grief with surrender, and we have to name that too. So then, what are the blessings of surrender? The best part about surrender is that you can create a new thing. It's not like the old systems were working that great. And so many of our queer ancestors built something out of nothing. And the next poem I want to read is about the South Asian queer journals called Tricone. And it's about how I carried around this set of magazines for many years. A spell for releasing the Tricone journals. One uses a Redwell to carry around tons of evidence when 1 or 2 file folders aren't up to the job. Since 2005, I have lived in 11 homes. With each move came with me a large Redwell containing 37 issues of Tricone magazine. Until today, I had only read half of one issue, but I knew I had to keep these documents close, right next to my desk in every home. In each moment of family, church, national, international aggression against queer people, against brown people, I had this protection of knowing I was not alone. I had history on my side. I had solidarity, support groups, and the proof right here in physical form. These documents began with a few sheets of paper forming a newsletter, then a booklet, then a glossy magazine with Surabhi or Jayashri on the cover, always a labor of love. This evidence of new beginnings, these origin stories, Salga NYC, Salga Philly, these are all the South Asian LGBTQ groups that started across the country in the 80s and 90s. This evidence, in February 2025, when Trump came back to executive order away trans people's rights, starting on day 1, I knew it was time to break into the Redwell. I needed to remember what we had lived through, how so many of us have already created something out of nothing. I needed to remember our collective survival, and now it was time to pass these documents on. So the last couple of examples I want to give, one is I went to a story district event, which is sort of like the Moth. It's in DC, and they have different storytellers. And they have one for LGBTQ folks called Outspoken, and this year they had the 15th anniversary of that. And the last speaker, her name was Mrs. Rodriguez, and she was a trans woman. She was going through a domestic violence situation, and she talks about when she went to court, and she says it was a middle-aged black woman who stopped the other side from misgendering her. She said, "Not in my courtroom." She said, "You will refer to her as Mrs. Rodriguez." She told the story, and she said this was a time where there were no laws, there were no policies, there were no guidances, but people still stood up for each other and respected each other, and we have to remember that when we start to think it's all lost, when the laws are gone. We create the society that we need. And the last thing I want to share is about Ella Jenkins, who was part of that, who was a song about, you sing a song. I went to her concerts as a young person in Chicago, and I had no idea about her personal life. But I went to a book event for This Is Rhythm by Gail F. Wald. And Gail talks about Ella Jenkins' life and how she had a 63 relationship with another woman, and talks about how that was not public at the time, but when this person went to write the story of her life, she talked to her about that openly. And I wanted to share these two stories because people have been living. They were partners for 63 years. And this is someone I went to hear who led folk music for children in Chicago. And knowing these histories is so powerful as we lose our ground here and think all is lost when we get these executive orders. We need to create what there was before, and we can create that again, and we must. So the last thing I'll share is a poem about someone who's very good at surrendering and facing what is, and surrendering to face a new thing, and that's my spouse. And this is a poem that gives you a little taste of who she is. Unpacking on the L2. Entering the L2 bus, a meeting in her headphones, the bus driver stops her. Half paying attention, she thinks it's something about her bus fare, but he keeps gesturing her towards him, and so she stops. He says to her, "Hope this isn't offensive, but are you gay?" She gives a complex answer involving phrases like non-binary presenting and queer without checking his box. But he correctly understands the answer as enough of a version of a yes, and he continues his inquiry. He says it's not that he thinks gay people shouldn't get married, he just thinks maybe they shouldn't be parents. And some of his gay colleagues back at the bus depot got upset at him for saying that. But what do you think? You wouldn't be mad if I said that, right? My spouse, often much less hot-headed than me, paused. She responded, where do you think you got that idea? Let's unpack that. He said, well, I just think boys should have fathers, don't you think? And my tomboy spouse in her home with mostly just her mother and grandmother and sister came forward with evidence. She said, I know a lot of young men who were raised just by their mamas and grew up to be fine men. I do know this to be true. He seemed to pause, and she continued, to be sure, a father might be a nice to have, but with so many separated families, that's not always the case, right? And they kept chatting. And then she said she needed to get back to her meeting, pointing to her headphones, her colleague having heard the entire exchange. And it was not until afterwards, as she was passing by to exit the bus, just across the street from our home, filled with me relearning 8th grade algebra, and our daughter learning to make the family whole meals with HelloFresh, did she mention this part. You know, my beautiful wife and I might get a lot of things wrong, but I do think we're good parents to our daughter. She's 14. She's in middle school now. And with that, she went to give that bus driver a fist bump. And at that moment, at that bus stop, steps from our home, the bus driver got up from his seat. He unlatched the gate that kept him in his seat. He came forward towards her. He came forward and said, "May I give you a hug?" And when I tell my friends this story, they ask if my wife is some kind of prophet. And I beam, because I know many of us like to think we have good hearts. But this one, she must have her mother's wild grace and her own wild patience, too. Thank you.
All right, now I know you know this song. Well, I'm trying to tell you something about my life. Maybe give me insight between black and white. But the best thing you've ever done for me is to help me take my life less seriously. It's only life after all. Yeah. Well, darkness has a hunger that's insatiable, and lightness has a call that's hard to hear. And I wrap my fear around me like a blanket. I sail my ship of safety till I sink it. I'm crawling on your shores. And I went to the doctor, I went to the mountains, I looked to the children, and I drank from the fountains. There's more than one answer to these questions, pointing me in a crooked line. And the less I seek my source, closer I am to find. Yeah. Closer I am to find. Yeah. And I went to see the doctor of philosophy, with a poster of Rasputin and a beard down to his knees. And he never did marry or see a B-grade movie. He graded my performance. He said he could see through me. I spent 12 years prostrate to the higher mind, got my paper and I was free. And I went to the doctor, I went to the mountains, and I looked to the children, and I drank from the fountains. There's more than one answer to these questions, pointing me in a crooked line. And the less I seek my source, closer I am to find. Yeah, closer I am to find. Yeah. Well, I stopped by a bar at 3 a.m. to seek solace in a bottle or possibly a friend. And I woke up with a headache like my head against a board. I was twice as cloudy as I'd been the night before, and I went in seeking clarity. And I went to the doctor, I went to the mountains, and I looked to the children, and I drank from the fountains. Yeah, we go to the doctor,
we stand up for the lookout. There's more than one answer to these questions, pointing me in a crooked line. And the less I seek my source, closer I am to find. Yeah. Closer I am to find. Yeah. Closer I am to find. Yeah.
Thank you so much to all our musicians. I mean, when do you ever get an organ and then Indigo Girls and then some, show tunes in between? We are amazingly blessed by our musicians, for sure. Yes. And now it is time for our announcements, and we know at Cedar Lane that announcements are not just updates, but they are, in fact, invitations. Each invitation is a chance to connect, to show up, to live out our values in real ways. These are opportunities to grow in community, to deepen your faith, and to make a difference. To start, we have our Afghan refugee support team is welcoming involvement from new people. This is a great opportunity to live into your values. And if, going out to a rally is not your thing, but you still want to be involved in social justice, supporting our Afghan refugees is a great way to do that. You can see Sheila Albin or Kathleen Holme if you guys want to raise your hands. During the coffee hour for more information. And if you're online, I'm sure you can find information in the e-news about this. If not last week's, then we'll put it in this week's. And this Saturday from 12 to 4, you can join us at the Kensington Juneteenth celebration. Cedar Lane will have a table and be doing outreach to connect with our larger community. And there is a sign-up link in the e-news for that as well. And very near and dear to my heart, would you like to form the faith of our next generation? Yes, I know every single person here would absolutely love to do that. So our children's programming needs volunteers for Makerspace this summer and in our 2nd and 3rd grade class for the fall, which they'll be using a Lego curriculum. So if Legos are your jam, it's about Legos and the the UU values that have arisen in the last year or two. And volunteering is easy, and it's only 1 to 5 hours a month on Sunday mornings. So you can contact me if you're interested in learning more, or Eleanor, who's over in the Makerspace. And as Coral so eloquently mentioned, our registration is open for our Soul Circles, and this is our small group ministry for adults, and it's the cornerstone of our adult faith formation. So if you've been looking to grow or deepen your own spirituality, the Soul Circles are, as Coral said, I don't have to repeat it, but I will. Soul Circles are a really good place to start. And she didn't actually mention that she never stopped doing one Soul Circle to do another. She's actually doing all 3 Soul Circles. So you don't have to do that. One is good. But if that's your jam, please do as many as you want. So you can see me or you can see Nicole Singer if you want information about that. So we have all those wonderful events going on, and now I will turn it over to Sunu for our benediction.
Okay, so to close, we have a poem by Naomi Shihab Nye. To be very clear, this is not my poem. I often get asked, which poet should I read? So this is someone who I always recommend. She's a wonderful, wonderful poet. Her name is in the bulletin if you're not familiar with her work. Gate A4. Wandering around the Albuquerque airport terminal, after learning my flight had been delayed 4 hours, I heard an announcement. If anyone in the vicinity of Gate A4 understands any Arabic, please come to the gate immediately. Well, one pauses these days. Gate A4 was my own gate. I went there. An older woman in full traditional Palestinian embroidered dress, just like my grandma wore, was crumpled to the floor, wailing. "Help," said the flight agent. "Talk to her. What is her problem?" We told her the flight was going to be late, and she did this. I stooped to put my arm around the woman and spoke haltingly. "Shudawa, shubiduik, habiti, stanti, shwe, min, fadlik, shubitsui." The minute she heard any word she knew, however poorly used, she stopped crying. She thought the flight had been canceled entirely. She needed to be in El Paso for major medical treatment the next day. I said, "No, you're fine. You'll get there just later. Who's picking you up? Let's call him." We called her son. I spoke with him in English. I told him I would stay with his mother till we got on the plane and ride next to her. She talked to him. Then we called the other sons just for the fun of it. Then we called my dad, and he and she spoke for a while in Arabic and found out, of course, they had 10 shared friends. Then I thought, just for the heck of it, why not call some Palestinian poets I know and let them chat with her? This all took up the 2 hours. She was laughing a lot by then, telling of her life, patting my knee, answering questions. She had pulled a sack of homemade mamul cookies, little powdered sugar crumbly mounds stuffed with dates and nuts from her bag, and was offering them to all of the women at the gate. To my amazement, not a single woman declined one. It was like a sacrament. The traveler from Argentina, the mom from California, the lovely woman from Laredo, we were all covered with the same powdered sugar and smiling. There's no better cookie. And then the airline broke out free apple juice from huge coolers, and 2 little girls from our flight ran around serving it, and they were covered with the powdered sugar too. And I noticed my new best friend, by now we were holding hands, had a potted plant poking out of her bag, some medicinal thing with green furry leaves. Such an old country tradition. Always carry a plant, always stay rooted to somewhere. And I looked around that gate of late and weary ones, and I thought, this is the world I want to live in, the shared world. Not a single person in that gate, once the crying of confusion stopped, seemed apprehensive about any other person. They took the cookies. I wanted to hug all those other women too. This can still happen everywhere. Not everything is lost. Thank you.